Hello, friends. Welcome to the Knitworthy podcast.
Knitworthy podcast, sharing our love of the fiber arts from the heart of the Ozarks.
Hello, and welcome to episode 25 of the Knitworthy podcast. Today is Friday, February 6th, 2015, and we are here.
We are.
In the same place even.
I know. 2 times in a row.
Oh my gosh. What marvels will we see next?
I don't know.
I'm Brianne, also known as Being Brianne on Ravelry and Instagram, and this is my gorgeous mother.
Hello, I'm Mama Linda, and I'm also known as Stony Brook in social media.
Yes. And this is a knitting podcast, a crocheting podcast, a fiber arts podcast.
It's an everything.
It's an everything podcast.
We just can't hold anything back from
we
you.
We can't. We just start talking and who knows what's going to come out.
Never know.
It's true. So anyways, Mom,
yes.
What are you wearing?
Well, I almost don't have to announce it anymore because I've worn many versions of Night Sky Hat.
Yes.
So many times now, you probably all have it memorized. But, hello, Night Sky. And I don't even remember the yarn anymore.
It was Julie Spins.
Was it Julie Spins? She keeps track of me.
I do.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm wearing the lovely cowl that was made on the California trip. If you listen to a previous podcast, super soft.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could tell you what yarn I made it in.
I wish I knew as well.
We should have really named this the Forgetfulness Podcast in my honor, but no.
What are you wearing, Brianne?
The
Forget Your Knitting podcast. I'm wearing the Northside pullover, and this is a sweater that I knit last year in a record 5 weeks it took me to knit. And I was knitting other things as well at the same time.
Word.
But I was so in love with it, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to show off. Hello. Oh, sorry.
Got some cleave going there.
No. It's covered up by a tank top. See this?
Oh,
I'm covering for you. You got a little cleavage because you're looking down, but they're okay.
Whoo!
It's getting hot around here, people, and not just because we're wearing wool. So, anyways, I love this sweater because all the fun cables. You remember how much fun I loved my Miss Wick, of course, because of all the cables. And this was a ton of fun because of the cables. And I ended up knitting it very quickly. And yeah. So anyways, the only thing that I regret is the sleeves. The sleeves, I should not have followed the designer's instructions because they are very long. And they get in my way. So I end up usually folding them up, which is a shame because it's a garter rib.
Oh, yeah. So
which is a really fun detail.
Now, was it knit top down? Could you unravel the extra?
No, it was knit from here up.
Oh, no.
So what I have considered doing is I have considered going back and either bringing this up underneath and tacking it down. So I get to still see the rib, but it's not quite as long. But then you get some added bulk there. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a sleeve dilemma. It's a sleeve quandary.
I wouldn't tack.
No. That's tacky. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's
good.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what I'm wearing. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I will put links to everything that we're talking about in the show notes, which is at knitworthypodcast.com. And so you'll be able to see links to our projects on Ravelry. Hint, hint.
What?
Yeah. And
what is this thing called Ravelry?
Links to the patterns on Ravelry.
Yeah.
And so that way you can see exactly what projects we're talking about. And in the case, if there is a project page that either Mom or I have put together, then you can see exactly what yarn we've used and everything. I know this is a Knit Picks yarn. I just can't remember which one and which colorway and everything. So,
you know what comes next?
what comes next?
We usually do our gooseberries,
We
which are
usually do.
tasty little bits in our week.
Yes.
And we have added something really fun to our gooseberries, and which is we have invited other people to be our guest.
Yes.
And don't you know our viewers are a gooseberry in our life?
Absolutely. You know what makes me want to sing? The Be Our Guest song from
Would you?
from Beauty and the Beast. Yes.
Do it.
I really can't.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for offering.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know, over in our Ravelry group, there is a thread called Be Our Guest. And it's where you can sign up to be featured in a podcast.
Ta-da!
And, you know, I want to encourage everyone. Don't you think everyone should do it?
I think everyone should do it.
They should.
Be a follower.
Okay.
Come on.
Right. Be a follower.
Jump off a bridge with us.
Yes. So here's the thing. You don't have to like do juggling or anything amazing. You could be amazing, of course, but you could just do this. If you're shy, wave and say what your name is. Come on, everybody can do that. And don't say that, like, I don't like how I look and all these things, because, you know, we're not going to go for that here. Because we think you're beautiful.
We podcasted in our pajamas without makeup.
Yes, I have makeup on today, but
Yeah.
I think last week I didn't. You know, so it doesn't matter. You know, it's all about getting to know you. And isn't that fun?
And I think it's a wonderful part. We have a really great community of crafters in our Ravelry group.
We do.
And so if you are not a part of that group, then you should be. And if you are a part of that group, we want to get to know you. And this is a really neat way
It is great.
of doing it, because then we get to see your gorgeous faces.
Yes. You might have a podcast. You might make something that you sell. Or you just might be someone who enjoys knitting. What?
Yes.
And it doesn't really matter what it is that is fibery that you love. Let's hear about it. So, without further ado, and I'm not even wearing my beret.
Wow.
Okay? I would like to introduce today's guest is Christina Wall. Woo! Our very first viewer guest.
Yes.
Aside from Knitting Geek, who was a guest dancer.
Yes.
But, you know, maybe we have to really give him props for being first, I suppose. Okay, Christina Wall. You're the first in this thread, though. Makes you very important to us.
Absolutely.
And you are Christina Wall on Ravelry. And you are A Knitter's Life on Instagram.
Yes.
Did you know that?
No.
Do you know she has a podcast?
I do now.
Yes! And she's so adorable.
Have you watched her podcast?
I started it this morning, actually, but I didn't get to get through it because it was time to podcast, so I'm finishing it after.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, she is really a natural in front of the camera. I highly recommend her. And her knitting, I almost had to hold on to the table
Oh my goodness.
because it is so amazing.
Okay.
Okay? And let's see, what else do we know about her? Oh my goodness. She has 48 designs on Ravelry.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And it's
You are
not
a
just
prolific designer.
She's not only prolific, she is an amazing designer.
Wonderful.
I love her stuff.
Well, I can't wait to go take a look at it.
I think you all should. I gave you a link that you could post.
Oh, good.
I think people should go visit her. Don't you?
Yes.
She's brave enough to do this for us. She should be
Rewarded.
rewarded. And so now, introducing Christina Wall.
Hello, Brianne and Mama Linda. I am here to answer some questions. Well, one question. You asked me what is my favorite hand knit. Well, that was really kind of hard. I thought it was easy at first, and then when I sat down to actually think about it, I thought that's actually a hard question because I can't pick one item. So what I did, and I hope I don't get an F, I chose my favorite hand knit for the winter season in each category. At least I think each category. But, so here I go. So I can try to make this quick. My favorite mittens that I wear all the time are Elizabeth Zimmerman's Sideways Garter Stitch mittens. And I knit these out of Harrisville yarns. They're fingering weight, and I doubled it so that they're nice and thick. And they're very easy because they're knit flat, and then you seam them. There's the nice seam on the side. And Elizabeth Zimmerman is just so amazingly genius in how she came up with knitting a flat shaped mitten. And I love it. They're very, very, very warm. So I use those all the time. My favorite socks are my hand-spun, hand-knit socks that I made last year. And you can see they're getting worn. This wasn't a superwash roving. I just used scraps of roving that I had picked up, and I spun them all together and then plied it with a gray, and it came out striped, which was so much fun. But they're so warm and they're so soft. They're so much warmer than regular socks, which I didn't expect, regular hand knit socks. So it's wonderful. The heel is getting a bit felted, so I don't know if that's good. Will it provide extra cushion against holes, or if it's bad? So only time will tell. But I wear them a lot. And the pattern, it's just a vanilla sock pattern that just top down. I do a garter stitch short row heel. It's kind of like the fish lips kiss heel, but it's garter stitch. And it's my preferred heel. And then my favorite hat, see, we're covering the categories, is a hat that I made, again, out of the inspiration of Elizabeth Zimmerman. This is some motifs that you can find in her Knitting Around book. And I just love Elizabeth Zimmerman. One year, the year I had John, so he was born in 2009. So 2010, I was home full time, and I thought, what am I going to do? Well, I never had a baby before, so I didn't know that I'd be super busy, but I decided to knit my way through Knitting Around, the Elizabeth Zimmerman book. So I set a goal for myself of knitting every single item in that book that whole year, and I blogged about it. I think you can still find it at knittingzimmerman.blogspot.com. But anyways, this I made later than that. I made last year. So, but it's my favorite hat, and I wear it all the time. It's nice and lightweight. It's made out of Knit Picks palette, and I just did a gauge swatch, cast on the number of stitches, put my motif in there, and then decreased it. And I love its little tail. It's got a little tail at the top. And of course, like Elizabeth Zimmerman does, she puts a little bit of red on the inside, so it fits me perfectly. Then my favorite scarf right now is my recent pattern release. It is Life of Leaves shawl, and I wear that. Look at this, I'm bundling up. I wear that like this. Flip my hair out. Okay, then my favorite sweater that I wear right now a lot is this this alpaca sweater that I made a long time ago, maybe 2008. But it's still going strong. It's all 100% alpaca, and I think I used Barocco Ultra Alpaca for the black, and then Misty Alpaca hand paints for the color. And it's a stranded knit, so it's double thickness, which is very warm. So that's that. So those are my favorite hand knits for this winter season to keep myself warm. I have different favorite hand knits for spring and summer and fall. I didn't realize that until you asked the question. So anyways, now I'm eager to hear. Do we get to hear what your favorite hand knits? And are you going to categorize them like I did? Or not? Did I do a bad job? So anyways, happy knitting, and I can't wait to talk with you guys again. Bye-bye.
Christina, the teacher says you get an A+.
Whoa!
You went like above and beyond.
Wow.
4 things.
4 things. A plus, Christina.
Which I love that she gave like in different categories of things.
Yes.
Because I think, we all have, of course, your favorite hat, a favorite sweater, favorite socks. And just like she was doing, I think that's perfect.
I mean, we could really keep going on and on if we went into different categories, couldn't we?
Yeah.
That was fabulous.
Yes.
I loved everything that she did, but that sweater, holy cow.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. And did you notice what it was made out of?
Alpaca. double thickness alpaca, too, because it was a stranded knit.
I'm guessing she could wear that in a blizzard and be fine.
I'm sure.
Yes.
And, Christina, how cute are you?
She's adorable.
And I want to go over to your house and go knit. Because you have a cute house, too.
I know. Did you see the cute little banner?
The bunting? Yes.
I'm pretty sure the bunting is one of her patterns, but I don't know for sure. I think it might be. I think I saw it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
If you live nearby, I don't know where you live, but if you live near us, I'd be at your house.
I know. She's setting the standard high. But I don't want everybody to think that they have to be as amazing as Christina.
No. You don't have to, give us an essay about anything, but we just... we want to be able to see your face and be able to hear from you.
But way to go, Christina.
Man.
Yes. And she asked if it was too long, and I said, no, I wish you could have gone longer.
No. It's a good thing you have a podcast.
Yes.
I think I would love to see her. I'll have to go take a look at her.
Yes, you'll love her.
Yes.
And as I go on and on about Christina, her first one, I took just the few minutes of the first part, but I think she's in some magazine too with her design.
Oh, really?
You know what?
Wow.
This is like the cliffhanger. You'll have to go watch her on YouTube.
Podcast. Go watch the podcast.
In the internets, there's a podcast. Go watch her. Mm-hmm. I think she's done even more amazing things than what I've said.
Wow.
I know.
That's impressive.
Yes. Good job. And what fun was that? If we ever see Christina Wall at some event, if we ever get out of Branson, it will be so fun to meet her, won't it?
It would be. Now, you need to tell us about your favorite thing.
Right here, night sky hat, seen it so many times. No. It just keeps getting pulled out of the drawer, and I guess that's how you know something's a favorite. Well, it could be a favorite just because it was an amazing job of knitting.
Yeah.
And which this isn't an amazing job of knitting, but this is so useful. And it feels good.
And the yarn is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And this is one that was around when Ailish was a baby, and it didn't get love for a while, but once I discovered it, and how wonderful it was, it gets more love now.
Yeah.
And so something that's been around for how old is she now?
Ailish is 7.
Okay, 7 years, and still useful, still looks nice, still feels good. That's worth some love in my book.
That is, definitely. For me, mine is this sweater, just because I love it. And I feel good when I wear it. And
you look good when you wear it.
Thank you. And, it's definitely warm. It's a wool sweater. So, I don't have to, wear a ton of layers when I wear it. I mean, just really something to cover this up.
The girls.
The top neck and, this area in here. But really, the rest of me is really warm.
Yeah.
So,
it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So that's my favorite
I do have to say, we walked up to, she came from upstairs, I came from downstairs. We caught sight of one another and realized we're matching.
Twinsies.
Little twinsies.
And I haven't seen Mom at all today.
We had no idea.
She hasn't seen me. But we tend to do this,
It's very funny.
It happens quite often where, we'll meet in the kitchen and go, so today's brownie.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Well, where are we?
Now we're at what we're knitting.
Oh, good.
Yes.
How about you? What are you knitting?
Okay. I am knitting on 1, 2, 3 things right now. This is my sock head hat, of course. This is my purse knitting. And, this gets about an inch put on it a week. And that seems to be the amount that I put on it every week. There you go.
So that would hence explain the inch a week theory.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah. And I did have a little mishap with it this week where I was knitting in the car line and I looked down about like 5 or 6 rows, and there was like one stitch that was like precariously hanging on by like maybe 1/10 of a ply.
Oh no.
I was like, oh, I can't ignore that. I've got to go back and fix that, because otherwise that's just that's an accident waiting to happen.
And so what did you do?
Well, it was on the other side of where I was, so I knitted around to it, and I dropped that stitch down to the stitch that was not fully knitted, and then picked the stitches back up. And I mean, I can't even see where I did that, just because I did it really well. I do good, people.
Don't you just feel like
good at that?
Like you won when you
do
fix something like that? You can't really see it.
I do. Like, yeah. I feel like a master knitter at that point, you know, where I'm like, wow, oh yeah.
One tip I have, if it's not so beautiful, once you pick up that stitch and things are kind of wonky, I have here, just a quickie. Aside from taking it out and re-knitting it, which is not fun, sometimes I find that if I give it a stretch diagonally and this way, up and down in each direction, sometimes, and kind of run my fingers across it like that, sometimes things will straighten back up again.
Yes.
And sometimes they straighten out in blocking.
Absolutely. And I mean, blocking is magical.
It is, yes.
Like,
I agree.
I don't know if you've ever knitted lace before, but you know, you go from, you know, this mass of, you know, what looks like absolutely nothing to, you know, when you get it wet and you stretch it out, and it just, I mean, suddenly like things magically appear in your knitting, like, oh, there's leaves. Oh my word, where did those come from? You know, I love blocking lace for that reason. So, yeah.
You're amazing. You love lace.
I do. I love some lace. I don't love all lace. I have some knitting shame. I have one knitting shame in that there was the sweet pea shawl. I can't remember I can't remember the name of the person who designed it.
You may not want to say her name if it's a shame.
No. It's a shame on me, not shame on her.
Oh, okay.
I was going to knit it. I'll link to it in the show notes, but I was going to knit this beautiful shawl for the Spring Fling retreat at the Loopy U when Evan was 1, so 3 years ago. And I had the yarn, I had the pattern, I had the needles, and Brian had, you know, given me time, because it's lace on both sides. It's like true lace, to where it's not just like you knit a row where it has lace and then the purl side is just purl across.
Oh my word.
So it's very intricate, and it has noops, and it has, you know, all kinds of things in it. And I must have cast on this shawl like 10, 12 times. And I would get like 15, 20 rows into it and could not get past that. My stitch counts were off. I was having issues, and I looked for errata and I couldn't find anything, but other people had successfully knit this shawl. So I'm like, oh, what's my problem? So I chalked it up to, you know, having, you know, a 1-year-old. He was right about 1 when I was trying to knit this shawl. And so I still have that yarn and the pattern in a knitting bag in my knitting area. And I still really want to knit that shawl because it's so beautiful. But that's my knitting shame. That's my one thing that I'm like, I haven't been able to do it. And I am so nervous that I won't be able to do it that I haven't done it yet. So I'm airing this out. This is going to be, we're going to do something along the lines of, you know, knitting something that's really, really difficult for you, or, you know, I'm sure this year, and, you know, as one of our alongs, and I would probably pull this out and try to do it. But this is me being accountable. I'm gonna knit that shawl this year.
Where's the joy in that? It sounds like work.
No, because I want that shawl. It is so gorgeous. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I want to wear that.
Okay.
It's like a beautiful piece of art.
Okay.
I would pull it up and show it to you right now if I could. But then you would see and you would go, oh, Brianne, yes, you're so right. Yes, the lights would come. Yes, all of it.
Well, on with what is actually in reality.
So the things that I'm actually knitting right now. The other thing that I'm knitting is I put some distance. Hello, again. I put some distance on my featherweight cardigan.
We used to call her Breezy all the time. I think it's hilarious you said that.
It's my cardigan, named after me and everything. Yes, and you guys still sometimes call me Breezy.
We do.
Yeah. Okay, so here it is. People, look at how big it is.
Isn't that amazing?
Look at how long it is.
Don't
look at how big it is. Just look at how long it is. Admire with me that I have put on quite a lot.
And this is lace weight?
This is lace weight on size 5 needles.
Okay.
Hold on, let me find here we go.
Well, and you're going to get it done in time for spring, right?
Yes. Okay, so here is where I was last week. And so I have knitted, what is that, probably like 5 inches on it. That's pretty good.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good. So I took the shirt that I was wearing yesterday. I love the length of that shirt. And so what I did was, after I got home from being with my grandmother, I was trying to figure out how much longer I needed to make this. And so I got home, closed all the curtains in my room, took off my shirt, laid it out on the bed, and then laid out my sweater on top of it because I wanted to be the same length. So I only have about 2 inches, 1.5 inches to 2 inches left to knit on it before I can bind off, which means I'm at the ribbing. Yes! So I'm super excited, not super excited that I have to knit 1x1 ribbing for 2 inches on a lace weight sweater, but more so just that I'm actually at the point where I do sleeves soon, and I don't know, it's like there are a million stitches on the needle at this point, so getting down to sleeves is going to be a welcome relief.
That's wonderful, hon.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit one sleeve and then knit the collar, pick up stitches and knit around, because that's going to take forever, and then knit the second sleeve. That way.
See, I wouldn't do that. I'm saying me personally.
Okay.
The reason why I wouldn't do that is because I always invariably end up making one little change to the sleeve that I cannot remember if I don't do them right away.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, you would have to be careful and make really good notes. Oh, speaking of making really good notes, I took no notes on this sweater before I started it. So, I went back to go see the measurements that I needed to make it on my Ravelry page to see like what size I was making. That way I could go back to the pattern. I didn't even put notes on that. I didn't put notes on anything. And so I was like, well, I'm guessing I made this size. So I don't know. Put notes and people don't do what I say, not as I do.
The ultimate way to encourage people to do the right thing.
That's my argument.
I don't do it, but you should.
And then the last thing that I started, actually started this week, is I have a friend who is having a little baby in a few months, and so I wanted to knit a little hat. And so this is the baby hat for a friend. That's just what I called it. I'll put the note or the actual name. I think it's top-down bonnet with anime face or something like that.
Are you doing ears on it?
No, I'm not,
Okay.
I'm not doing anything.
What was
with
it
that.
about? Since you're not putting a face and ears on it like the pattern calls for, what was your reason for choosing the pattern?
Because I've knit it before.
Okay.
And it looks really cute. And you end up with these little, here's the front. Okay. And it has kind of a little
That's adorable.
square top there, but it has shaping in the back for the nape of the neck. And then you end up with these little ear things here, and it'll have, I'll be doing I-cord. So you can actually tie it around the baby, to make sure it's secure on there.
How cute.
So I think it's very, very cute.
Yes.
And then I have,
super cute.
I'm knitting it out of Debbie Bliss Baby Cash Merino that has been in my stash forever. So I'm really happy to be able to use it. And then I'm going to be taking this yellow and doing the garter edging and the I-cord in yellow. So I think that's going to be adorable.
Super cute.
And I have asked Mom, we did a barter, and I asked Mom if she would mind doing some beautiful embellishment, maybe like a flower or something on there or something, I don't know. So
It's a little girl you're doing
it is a little
for.
girl,
Yeah.
yes. But the mama likes, blue is her favorite color, and so I thought it'd be nice to have something. And I don't think that blue is necessarily like, a tomboyish blue. I think that the combination is just very light and beautiful.
Well, embellishing it with a flower will help any confusion someone may have.
Oh, absolutely. So I traded knitting dinner for an extra night one week for her embellishing skills, because you remember that rug that she embellished? Gorgeous. And I mean, the rat that she made, so cute. I mean, how do you make a rat adorable? She can do it. So yeah, she can take a plain hat and make it gorgeous.
I'll try it.
You can do it. I have no doubt in your skills. So that's what I'm knitting on. Mom, you have been busy.
I have.
Making. What have you been making?
Well, I've actually been spinning more than anything else.
Okay.
But I have been every day making more hearts.
More hearts. And we've had people asking on the thread, and are you going to be making a pattern for this?
I actually was ready to write it up, and then I decided that I wanted to include some other sizes because, well, this is an example of a hand-spun heart that I knitted up this week.
Oh, isn't that cute?
Which, it's one of my favorite. It's from Purple Goddess Designs fiber, and it's pretty Japanese, pretty painted ladies, pretty Japanese painted ladies.
Something
it's that
like
one
that.
again.
It's the one that you used in your shawl, right?
Mm-hmm. Except for I had extra fiber, and so I did some like chunky like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love the fiber, and it made me happy to make it into a heart. And it's not embellished yet, and so stay tuned for how it gets embellished. And I'm also waiting for the delivery of the scissors, and I really wanted to be able to include in the instructions how I'm going to attach the scissors to the heart.
That's a good idea.
But you know how you're so good, and all the sock yarn balls that are left over you give to me. And I decided, what if I did the same pattern, but in sock yarn?
That is way too cute.
Isn't it adorable?
It's like, yeah.
I mean, I love this so much. And
It's maybe only, what, like an inch and a half tall?
I mean, but it will make a beautiful scissor fob. Now, I'm all tangled in my yarn over here. Hang on. Okay, so this is my well-used acrylic yarn one, and I have other ways I'm attaching the scissors because I've come up with a better idea. But, I mean, look at the size difference.
But it's so cute.
But I'm thinking it'll be so cute for the little scissors. I don't know how to show this to you properly, but... And I wanted to show that my favorite, I also added a stitch marker into here because that's the other thing that I'm always in search of when I'm trying to finish something. But I wanted to show that it still works with my needle. Look.
Perfect.
How cute.
That's so cute.
Yes. So I'm going to be making some more of those. And I thought it would be a really fun gift to be able to send if you've got a swap partner too, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yeah, I think. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. I've got a whole basket full of hearts over here and lots more yarn.
No.
Yes. And the fun thing is, it's kind of like doing the beekeeper quilt where you're doing the hexagons, though it's a lot, I mean, it is like doing one petal of my flowers that I'm making.
Yeah.
But, or like doing a square for an Afghan. It is like, you know, a very short project. You can do it while watching a television show and you're done.
Yeah.
So, okay, the other thing I thought that would be so cute, and bring these out again, and I thought, and this was before I saw, what are they called again? Not the banner, they're called
bunting.
A bunting. Wouldn't it be fun to either do a big heart bunting or a small heart bunting with leftover
Cute.
yarns?
Yes.
It'd be so adorable, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yes, very cute.
I agree.
You can make them all different sizes. I mean, there is no limit.
No.
to what we can
Don't
do.
limit her, people.
Don't limit me.
Yes.
That's really what I've been doing.
So you've
aside
been doing
from
hearts?
spinning
Hearts.
all the time, just because my hands get tired from spinning, and so I will give them a little break, exercise them, and do some knitting.
That's a good idea. So you want to show off your spinning since you've been doing your spinning?
Do you have any other projects that you needed to show? Okay, great. I didn't bring all the spinning because that's silly.
Our show isn't that long.
But I'm going to combine the Gilding the Lily with this segment. And I'm trying to get this. It was so beautiful when it arrived, and I've messed it up. But I am spinning up Peggy Doney's, who is the 100th sheep, and this is her colorway called Antique Rose. And I can't tell you how much I love this. There are smoky grays going into some kind of amber goodness. And then there's this beautiful, I don't even know what to call this, maybe a bittersweet kind of a color thing, and then going into these deep kind of red burgundies. And then you've got the really deep, it almost looks black, but it is like she's so much better at colors than I am, but it's just like a deep plummy black kind of color. I'm telling you, this makes me go, eee!
Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm sorry.
She's got a fangirl squeak going on there.
Love. So.
And those are totally your colors, too.
I know. And so what I did was I took one braid, and I believe there are 6 ounces in it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
For the sake of our viewers, why does Peggy send you these braids of yarn?
I should. Okay, so she lets me do things for her. She's so nice to me. She lets me spin some of her yarn, and then it gets sold. When she goes and she travels different fairs, she's at Taos, New Mexico. What is that called? There's like that fancy. She's a fancy person. She's from Colorado. She does shows in Colorado and New Mexico. She's at all the big name places, and she's going to be at that big one. I don't know that even anything today. You know the one that's like the big new one that's happening in April.
I don't.
The big new one. I'll look for the name.
The big new one?
I mean, it's going to be put on by a big organization.
Stitches?
That's not Stitches, no.
Do you know the location of it?
Somewhere in Colorado, I think. I'm so bad. I'll post it.
Okay.
But she's going to be there. This is her cute little tag. Isn't it adorable? Little sheep. But, yeah. And so she is such a fantastic dyer. She's an amazing spinner, and she's a teacher. If you can take a class from her, do. She does the triad dyeing classes where you learn how to create an infinite number of colors from like just 3 basics. And really, she is the master artist.
She is.
And I have declared her that because that's what I see. She is, and it just gets better and better every time she comes with a new colorway. So I will do some more artistic yarns for her. I'll do some chunkier yarns for her to kind of fill in, so she has time to do more dyeing.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, someone's got to do it.
It's a hard knock life around here.
I know. When I wanted to, I have a few braids of the Antique Rose to spin. I wanted to see what it really wants to be. This was my I was actually doing a spiral crepe yarn, which is it's a 2-part spin. Let's see if I can get a good picture of it first, and then I'll tell you about it. Let's see. This has not been blocked yet, or not. I don't block it, but I wash it and hang it, and it does, like with knitting, it just makes everything turn out even and beautiful. But if you can see, there's 2 plies going on here. There is the thicker center ply, and then there is a spiraled ply around it that is 2 plies held together.
Okay.
Okay. I won't go into the big explanation of how it's done, but that is what happens, and it creates this really beautiful a spiral effect that I love.
Mm-hmm.
If I can show it to you somehow here. How's that? And I just love that.
Yeah.
So I love this, but I decided that gray was not the color that I wanted to do as the contrast on it. I think I wished I would have had a deep plum, a deeper color, and I think I would have liked that better. But, you know, sometimes I've said things like that, and then once it got knitted up, I was like, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I really am going to go for, when I'm plying yarns like this, like for the crepe yarns and things like that, I'm going to choose a darker color next time. Okay, lesson learned. And this one was done as a 2-ply, and I added some bits of Angelina in it. I did not add any gray to that. This is just the gray that's in it. But I added a little bit of Angelina Sparkle in rose copper, which
Very pretty.
Just
great.
Just a little. And it's got the lovely barber pulling that I love. And I did this as a fractal spin.
Okay.
And if you don't know what a fractal spin is, you take your braid, your long length of roving, whatever, and you will split it in half.
Mm-hmm.
Then half of it you're going to spin just from top to bottom, and you're going to let it run like nice long color repeats. And then the other one you break up into however many sections you want. I think I broke it up into 4 sections because I wanted quicker color repeats. And I spun those end to end, and it mixes things up nicely. And it's called fractal spinning, and it was very fun. I enjoyed it. The next one I'm just going to do a Navajo ply, also known as cable ply, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
And I just want to see what happens when we let the colors not intermingle barber pole style, but just let them flow from one to the next.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
That's what I've been doing.
Awesome. Good job.
Did you spin this week?
I did, and that's only like part of what you've done.
Excuse me. That's right. I've got a whole big box to mail off.
Wow. You're amazing. Well, I also did some spinning this week because, you know, I spin now. I don't know how many times I feel the need to say that, but I do, just because it's still a novelty around
Love it.
the upstairs. So I spun up some of the Malabriga Nube that I showed off last week. This is the Mostazo colorway.
And look at your improvement. Are you not proud of how far you've come?
I'm very proud. I'm going to hold this a little bit closer. That way you can see a little bit better.
What weight would you say that single is?
And
And actually, I just read you're supposed to say singles.
Oh, really?
Even though it's one.
I did not know that.
You know, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I read it in a book somewhere. They call them singles, and it's
Even if it's just like this, the singles?
that's singles.
Singles.
I wonder if it was a typo in the book, and I'm just assuming it's right.
What weight would, I don't know. I'd say there are parts of it that are definitely lace weight, but then I have a good portion of it that's more fingering weight. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say.
I have some little bits that are thinner than others that I was like,
not
oh,
machines.
please don't break.
Yeah.
Please hold on. And, you know, the magic of wool is that most of the time it really does hold on.
Yeah.
That's
It
the
is
amazing
amazing.
thing.
How are you hoping to apply this?
This is 2 ounces, and so eventually we're going to find the bobbin, so that the other bobbins that go with the Ashford traditional. Yes.
Apparently there's 2 more boxes in the garage. And I don't think I've even found my baby drum carder either. So
yeah. Well, so the extra bobbins for the Ashford traditional and the Lazy Kate that goes along with it are somewhere in those boxes. So we need to dig through them and try and find them, because I would like to spend the other 2 ounces and try using the Lazy Kate.
Let's go look after this and see if we can find them.
Okay. Oh, all right. So that's what I've been doing. And I love it because, like, you know, Brian has even noticed a difference. Yeah. He's like, wow, because you're getting really good at that. And then I'm like, thanks. So what I did was I took the braid and then I split it in half so that it was like 2 equal segments.
Did you do lengthwise?
Lengthwise.
Okay.
And then I split each half into 4 equal pieces.
Okay.
And so because I'm still
you'll get
learning
quicker color repeats also.
I'm still learning how to the first. Let me say this first. The first yarns that I made, I pre-drafted everything, and because I was still trying to figure out how to move my hands and how to move my feet together, and so that's what I did. This yarn I did not pre-draft at all.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you. And so, but I'm still trying to learn how to draft as I'm spinning. So, the next one that I do, not the next half of this green, but the next yarn that I do, I'm going to try splitting into thirds and then do just halves and then actually just spin right off the braid.
You get really long color repeats that way.
Yes.
So I'm still, I noticed that some spinners are able to imagine better what their yarn will look like when it's spun different ways. I am still in the frame of mind where I need to actually see what it's doing before I, so this is why I took one braid to try different ways to see how I think it looks the best.
Sure.
But like, I don't know if you've noticed, like Amy Beth and some of the people who have spun for longer, Peggy's the same way, Peggy from 100th Sheep, she can look at it and she can see what that yarn wants to be.
Yeah. I feel that way about yarn.
Do you?
I do. I feel like I can look at yarn and say, oh, that really wants to be a sweater. Yeah. Or, that really would be perfect for a shawl. I feel like I'm good at that with yarn. But obviously, I'm still such a novice spinner that, I foresee it being years before I'm able to do that with any kind of fiber. Well,
you know what? Someone has got to learn this. So I think it's up to you and I to discover how it all look.
Yes. Someday we'll be able to imagine these things.
It's, someone's got to do it.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, now we're on to It's a Good Thing. And Mom decided, which I think is a great idea, we have our 2 contests going on, and one of them is the Choose Joy contest. And Mom thought it would be a good idea to basically kind of randomly pick a entry and to read it so that we can share it with you. That's a great idea.
Thanks. I felt so grown up because I actually used a random number generator. I had the desire to try that out since I've heard it used so much.
It's been a lifelong dream of yours.
It's lifelong.
That's sorry.
But, so I used the random number generator, and this week it highlighted Jabberwock, Jabberwok, I believe. And she shared that when she was diagnosed with CLL, and I looked that up, that's chronic lymphocytic leukemia, 6 years ago, she chose joy by concentrating on the C for chronic and thought of all the knitting and other craft hobbies C for chronic, C for craft, that she would be able to continue to enjoy. Since then, our daughter has blessed us with 2 beautiful grandboys who bring us so much joy to our lives. And when I read that, first of all, I looked to see kind of what that was all about. I'm very curious. You know, when it comes to medical stuff, I've got to read it.
Of course. But you have to be careful because sometimes,
well, you might get whatever it is.
Right.
You know, leapfrog syndrome.
You have it.
You know, and you start jumping around.
That's right.
But for the most part, I'm usually able to be realistic about it and not assume that I'm dying of every disease. But CLL is a chronic disease which involves pain and infections, and this is somebody who is having had their life altered and in such a way that they are not able to do. She's not able to do the things that she would have been able to do because of it, and I'm sure she's going to take really good care of herself. And I loved that instead of focusing on what she couldn't do, she focused on what she could do.
That's wonderful.
And isn't that like the secret for living joyfully? I was thinking it's like if you could just focus on what you still can do, not on what you are no longer able to do, that would just make you overall a more joyful person.
Absolutely. Or what about this? What about focusing on the wonderful yarn that you already have and not on all the yarn that you can't have because of budget constraints or
you got that right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and put that into, what about, your house? Maybe your house is not as big as you need, but, you're not able to buy, a house that's bigger, or a nicer car or, whatever it is. Yeah. Focusing on what you have and being thankful for that rather than what you are not able to obtain.
Yes. I mean, that is like, it was really good food for thought for me this morning. Yeah. And I try and be a thankful person, but we all kind of slip into looking at what we lack at times. And so it was a really good reminder. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to look at, I'm not in a position to have my own home right now. Okay?
Neither am I.
What? But I was thinking, honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way right now in my life. This is like the best possible thing. And I don't feel the need to have more, have something of my own. I'm loving being around you and the grandkids. I mean, it really, it's like the Lord's changed my heart to not desire that, but it's like, and I think that was a good thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking with Owen and Ailish. The conversation came up in the car about, how, we're going to be putting the owner of the house is going to be putting the house on the market, probably in the spring. And so they were trying to, well, when are we going to move? And I was like, well, I don't know, because I don't know when the house is going to sell. And Owen said, well, when we move, are we going to move in with Dee and Poppy again and still live with them? And I said, you know what, buddy? I said, I honestly don't know. And he goes, okay. And I said, how does that make you feel? He goes, I have to think about that. So, he's kind of having to process that information, which, I was really proud of him, for being able to vocalize that, because Owen, has high functioning autism. He was very low functioning when he was younger. He didn't speak until he was 5. But, he's really come such a long way. And for him to be able to vocalize the fact that he needed, time to think about that, to think about how he felt about that, I was like so proud of him.
Yes.
So, but anyways, coming back to, being thankful for things and, choosing joy and, looking at what we have rather than what we don't. Those are so important things.
They are. And, I think that it is good that we're taking this time to focus on the joy part. There is so much that goes on when you look at the news or you talk to people. There's a lot of hurting people. It seems like we hear, and maybe it's because our heart goes out to them. They know that we'll be empathetic, but we hear things that are going on in people's lives, and you know, it can get you down if you're not careful. But the good thing is that when we focus on joy, even though someone's sharing something hard with us, we can be joyful that, I mean, aren't we joyful when someone asks us to pray for them?
Yeah, and we've had two instances just this week where people who are viewers have reached out to us, either to Mom or to myself, and asked us to pray for them about a situation that's going on in their lives. And we consider it an honor that you would feel that, you know, you would like for us to pray for you. Yeah. And we do. And we really do pray for you. You know, we join hands and we pray, and
it's not a joy that you're going through a difficult time. No. But it is such a joy to think that we are finally able to give back what we have received, in as far as we received the benefit of so many people praying for us, and now we're getting that joy of being able to bring someone else's needs to Heavenly Father.
Right.
It's wonderful.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is.
And you know, I wanted to say that if you would like prayer, certainly send us a message. And Brianne and I actually come together.
We do.
And we pray for you. And that's okay. Don't feel like you're a burden at all. That if you have something that you'd like a prayer request for, just message us on Ravelry.
Right.
And let us know.
Yeah.
Did you do something joyful for yourself this week?
I have been trying to wear my hand knits more often as a joyful thing. And I know it's kind of a silly thing because here we are, you know, a knitter, you know, of course. You know, we make all these things, but sometimes I find that I don't wear my knits as much as I should. I'm making all these beautiful things, and I should enjoy them. So
do you feel more joyful when you wear them?
I do. I feel really happy when I wear them. You know, I'm like, man, I made this. You know, I'm awesome. And you know, I even had a couple people ask me, you know, if I bought something on Etsy, and I was like, nope, I made this myself. And I know, you know, that could be construed either as, you know, a compliment, or, you know, maybe not so much a compliment, but I took it as a compliment.
Of course.
I made it.
Of course. I actually chose joy this week too.
Did you?
Yes. One of the things I'm doing is just trying to take better care of myself. And, you know, when you're a bit overwhelmed, you're just trying to get through. But you can't live that way forever. You've got to, at some point, go, okay, now it's time for me to make sure I'm covering my bases. So I ordered some more of my vitamins.
That's good.
Yes. And the one thing I wanted to mention was sunlight. I've been studying how that the sun really affects mood, and it provides us essential vitamins that we need. Vitamin D is what we get from sun.
Right.
And many people find that when they live in areas where there's darkness, or like during the winter, or they have, I would guess, if you have a chronic illness and you're not getting out very much, that you might be lacking vitamin D. And I wanted to say, I do take vitamin D. This is not saying that you should take vitamin D. You should talk to your doctor, of course. But my recent tests show I am in good shape when it comes to vitamin D, and my chiropractor recommended it to me because she said it helped with mood, and I found it helped too. And I'm thinking I need to be more purposeful about getting light, sunlight on my skin. I'm trying to do that more. And I bought my mom a sun lamp. Did we mention this before?
No, we didn't.
Okay. So we're trying that with her because I've noticed from growing up with her that she was a little bit down when she wasn't able to get out and get into the sun. And she sits on her deck now, but there's times that it's too cold.
Yes.
So if you're maybe struggling with your mood and it's dark where you are, you don't get as much sunlight, maybe you're indoors for whatever reason, you might want to think of, maybe my life isn't falling apart, maybe I just need more vitamin D.
And there's such a thing as called seasonal affective disorder.
Yes.
Where, you know,
it's a real thing, it's not imagined.
Right. You know, where people actually have, you know, issues with
depression
during, you know, the winter months because of not being able to get enough sunlight.
And I do notice when I run out of my vitamin D, because I'm not a big outdoorsy person, should be. What a shock. But I do notice that when I start taking it again, I feel better. So, hey, take care of yourself.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Vitamin D and the sun. Good things.
Yes.
God made them for us.
Yes. Are you ready for our contest?
Of course.
Okay, we've got...
Oh, did I go too far?
Yeah, that's okay. So we've got 2 of them. I'm going to talk about our Choose Joy one first because it's what we're talking about. As a part of Brianne's theme of Choose Joy, we'd love for you to contribute your ideas of ways to choose joy in your life. Help inspire us with your joyful ideas. The winner will receive a skein of yarn and stitch markers from Turtle Maid, who has become quite the celebrity as of late.
Has she?
Well, she's on a ton of podcasts of people who are trying their things. And
I'm hearing her name more and more. I think we discovered her, didn't we? Can we take credit for her?
I take credit for discovering her yarn.
I know, right?
Yeah. The rules are you may only post once in this thread. Feel free to put as many ideas as you like in this one post, but do not post more than once. And you must be a member of the group to win. And I'm going to close this on Valentine's Day. And the winner will be chosen by random number generator.
Hey, I've got one now.
Yay!
Maybe I'll let you use it this time.
Oh, thank you. You're so good to me. The second contest that we're doing is Whip Through Your Whips. For the rest of January and February, where we're going to be focusing on wrangling our works in progress, also known as whips, into submission. You can do that in 2 ways. Number 1, you can finish the project. Number 2, you can unravel, also known as rip out, the project. Rules. You may only have 1 post in this thread, but as many projects as you like inside of that post. Just keep editing it to add projects.
Could we do, can we add one? Because what if there's some people that just do 1 project at a time and wouldn't be able to participate because they might have already had a project done.
That's fine.
So what if they have a skein of yarn that they have yet to use, and they use that skein of yarn from their stash?
We have one person that posted that she started something in December and just finished it.
Okay.
So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we're pretty loose.
It doesn't have to be from 1997.
Yeah.
It's just finish something.
Yeah, we're loose on that stuff. We just want to have fun.
Yeah. Please provide a link to your Ravelry project page for this project, as well as provide a picture, because we want to keep this fair for everyone. This thread will close on February 28th, and the winner will be chosen by random number generator on March 1st. Mama Linda and I will be whipping along with you, but we are not eligible for the prize, which is a beautiful cable needle from Wolf Farms. So that's a good thing.
It is a great thing.
It is. And I wanted to read... Why am I choking up about this? Sheesh. I wanted to read the Bless Your Heart for this week. Because it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. I agree.
Okay, ready?
Breathe.
Breathe. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Okay.
It's okay. We cry around here.
We totally do.
It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God.
Yes.
And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.
Yes.
And that's Philippians 4, 6, or 7. This is what I look like when I cry.
I love the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, not just temporary peace that we have on this earth, but a peace that is beyond comprehension.
Yes, and we have experienced that peace.
We have.
Very much so. We have,
yes,
in the midst of unspeakable circumstances, when Owen was sick and on a ventilator and nobody could tell us if he was going to make it through. And they were giving him medicines that were hurting his body more than helping it, just because they had to fight what was going on.
And not just in the health realm, but in financial realm.
Absolutely.
We've been at the end with the checkbooks empty.
Yeah.
And not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so whatever your need is, you don't have to live in anxiety.
No.
God wants you to cast your cares on Him.
Absolutely.
And you can be peaceful.
And
it's a choice. to depend on him.
And that's what he's there for. You know, that's part of why, you know, he came. You know, is not just to, you know, take away our burden of sin, but to take away all of our burdens, you know, and he says, you know, it says to cast your cares on him. That's what he's there for. We don't have to carry all of that all the time. And I'm a person who struggles with being anxious. You know, I take medicine for it. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, I've got any of this, you know, down and that I don't need, you know, help in that area or that I'm, you know, perfect at it. But,
we're living out casting our cares on him,
absolutely,
aren't we?
every day.
We still have cares.
Yeah, every day
we're choosing to trust God.
And that's why that verse is so precious to us.
It is so precious.
So, anyways.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we ended the podcast with me crying.
You're welcome. Don't we want all of our viewers to have peace?
We do.
Oh,
and you know,
would love that.
And I think that one of the things that makes us a little bit different from other podcasters is that, you know, we are living our lives on front of the camera and being real. You know, not everybody is, you know, talking about what goes on in their real lives, and that's fine. You know, I mean, if you want to keep that private, that's fine. But, you know, we have some really amazing things that have happened and, you know, that are currently going on and that have happened in the past, and we want to share and be real.
Yes.
So,
warts and all, here we are.
This is us. Yeah, you've seen the cry now. Hopefully I never get to the point where it's the ugly cry.
Yeah. That's
Ooh,
not good.
No. So anyways, I think that's it for this week.
Yes, I feel blessed just having been able to get together with you today.
Yeah, me too.
And aren't we so glad our friends came along?
Thank you for coming.
You can come over anytime.
You're
right.
Welcome. Yes. So until we see you,
yes,
we just want you to remember that you
are
knitworthy. Bye.
Bye, y'all.